All right, welcome everyone to day three with Keaton Walker, where you will be able to learn and understand how to launch your own course, build a membership area, as well as build your own version of a community inside of High Level. So, with day three, we've got a lot of things to cover. We've got a bunch of goodies that we're giving away. Those of you that are just jumping in, Keaton just told me that we're going to do raffles today, which is going to be exciting and fun and engaging. So, those of you that are jumping in, just like yesterday, you're going to see some links in the chat. The Zoom chat has been turned off now for 3 days. So, it's by design, and there's a link in there for our Facebook page streaming. I want you to go there and tell us whether you've been watching the entire way. Is today's your first day, or have you been watching at least on replays? Maybe today's the day you jumped in on the live, but either way, I want you to tell us where you are. Let me just go ahead and go to the High Level Facebook page. It looks like Ethan just dropped the link. Let's see who is all over there. I see Cecilia. Hey, Cecilia. Good morning to you as well. Let's see who else is in the house. I see a few names coming up. Again, we're going to do some raffling, some giveaways. We're going to have an offer for you. Those of you already that have high level accounts, we have a special surprise for you as well towards the end. Maybe like a snapshot link that you've been waiting for all for 3 days. Kian, welcome back, my guy. We are
Thanks,
getting the
brother.
party started for day three.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Good to be back.
What are we gonna do today? Help us understand a quick overview of day two, if you don't mind, and maybe some notes on day one if we have time as well. And
Hmm.
let's go into the agenda for day three. We're going to talk about sales, marketing, positioning of these offers, and just kind of, talk a bit more strategy, I believe, from what I remember, because yesterday was pretty tech heavy and we went through the
Hmm.
platform. But what do you got in store for us for day three?
Yes, sir. Let me share my screen. I need
Yeah,
screen
that
sharing
that
permissions here.
that'll help. That'll help. Okay, 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 okay.
And by the way, the raffles we're doing today, guys, you got three options. There's a $500 cash. There's a free 30-minute call with myself. We can talk about whatever you want. And then I have like a full comprehensive agency course that we'll be giving away for one of those as well. And
Wow.
why don't we do this, Paulson? They can obviously they'll only have one choice for the last one, but whoever wins the first one gets to choose which one they want, and then the next one they get to choose from what's left, and then the last one they just get what's left.
Okay, so you all have to engage. We're gonna really base the winners off of engagement and comments. I'm gonna be just honest with you all. So the more comments, the better. The more engagement, the better. And it's also a trick, just so you know, so we can get the algorithm pumping. We want Zuckerberg to pedal faster for all of our pages and social channels. But yeah, we're gonna do a raffle. We're gonna have a bunch of goodies giving away. We're going to provide the snapshots over to you for those of you that already have a high level account. But let's do a quick review, if you don't mind, Keaton, of day
Yes,
one
sir.
and two, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. So first day we talked about creating an easy yes offer and pricing strategy. So and we talked about this email launch strategy, which we're going to recap anyway today, so I won't cover it here. But basically, an easy yes offer is how can I get someone to say yes to this, ideally without a call? And the way that we do that is by making the initial payment as low as possible, just to prove that they're willing to pay. And then after that, we can try to upsell them, or we can try to get them into like a weekly payment process, which is what I do. And we kind of went over these three um, models that most people are following in this space. We've got the course only, we've got the guru model, which is you're selling a big package all up front with the sales call. And then you've got the hybrid, which is, hey, we don't have to sell the sales call, but we're still optimizing for that big lifetime value instead of just having the single course. So lots of stuff around this, especially with High Level's new communities feature. This is so easy to deploy and run with. And so this is the one I'm recommending, especially also because it's the easiest one to bolt on to other offers, like I showed here. This is an example of an agency that bolted on hybrid coaching at the beginning of their funnel so that people hop in, they get the help that they need. And then when they say, oh, I need an agency service, They just sell them that agency service, deliver it, and it's a beautiful process there. Same thing for a SaaS, and same thing for affiliates if that's something that you're doing. So that was day one. Day two, we've got it was a lot of text setup and snapshot walkthrough. So I won't recap that part, but the identity piece, we talked about picking what you rebel against. So for me, it was I'm rebelling against being a doubter because my branding is all about being a dominator. And these are the principles of a dominator. These are the principles of a doubter. And picking that beautiful branding and identity for you as a coach and the people that follow you positions you as a leader that people are willing to pay for. And we also discussed, instead of giving value, giving wisdom to the people in your audience, which I talked about this example of the student in the med spa space who, instead of giving away, here's my 10-step system, he's talking about, here's the problem that you're currently experiencing. And it's that you don't have the right leads. And instead of trying to just get more leads, let's focus on getting you the right leads, which speaks to a very problem aware person who wants to get started right away. So that's the best kind of content and marketing that you can be doing. We give a couple other examples here. So that was kind of the recap of day one and day two. When it comes to day three, we're going to go over this simplest email launch strategy, just because I want to drive home how simple this is and give you a few other examples of what you may be able to put into this. And then we're going to go over something really cool, which is the customers to clients framework. Just like one of the most mind-blowing things, simplest, but also mind-blowing things that we'll cover in this workshop. And then the last one is how do we optimize for lifetime value, get as many people as possible paying us for as long as possible. So retention and actually adopting and using the course. And we're going to go over some cool automations that I've built into the snapshot to help you guys out with that.
Awesome. So, real quick, I see a lot of comments. Tell us what's been your biggest like aha moment so far. I
Oh, that would be
see
cool.
Robert Wall, Angela Roth, Carrie. There's a few people that are um, Cal just said he's listening in. Give us your takeaway so far. What's been some aha moments? Because it's one thing to have the idea of building a course. It's a whole another thing to execute it. And for some reason, launching a course it's a bit harder than building a service because it's like an evergreen product. You know you're not going to go back and re-record it a bunch of times. So it's like even myself, we've had the perfectionism bug that kind of got in the way often of these launches. So I'm kind of curious of what y'all's takeaways are so far. People are saying the hybrid model pricing. So, Keaton, can you just share the pricing model real quick and the offer, the hybrid
Yeah.
one, just real quick? Because I know you're parking a lot of that into a subscription. That's really what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
Can you just describe that real quick?
Yeah. So really this is designed to get rid of any excuse to get started, and the most annoying, well, both for your client, but also for a course creator or a consultant, the hardest part about getting started is actually building out the resources. And that can get people stalled for years. And I'm not kidding when I say years. So instead of that, we focus on access and just selling some access to us on a weekly subscription basis as we build out that course. And we do it on, as we jump out of the plane and build the parachute on the way down, essentially. Um, and so we have a small course with focus on the key templates and resources that they need. So literally you could launch this with either no resources. I wouldn't recommend that, but you could build some of your best stuff, a video, even just a quick template or resource that these people inside of your community need. Put that inside of the courses area in your HighLevel membership. And then when people come inside, they have a little bit of stuff to consume, but the focus is on them asking you questions and getting on the calls. So we have group conversations inside the community. We have group calls We do a one-on-one onboarding, which is really helps us have a solid process of bringing every person on, and a solid reason for them to say yes right away, because there's a ton of value in that. And the pros here, easy to sell, it's recurring, we have the most leverage, and the most important one here, Paulson, is it's fastest to start, because that's why we're here. Ready, set, launch. Let's get our coaching business off the ground immediately, and that's what this is allows us to do.
I love that because most coach launches or course launches get stalled out the first couple of weeks. You're like, ah, I gotta build this, I gotta build that, I gotta build this collateral.
Yeah.
My students are wanting this, my pricing is off, I gotta figure out a strategy to launch. It just, I don't know, it just gets all in the way. So this is pretty clear in how we should launch. Hybrid model is a way to go. Yesterday, you walked through the technology side. We went through in and out of HighLevel, reviewed the snapshots, bunch of resources that you're providing. So thank you for that. So what are we going to learn in day three? Today's the last day, Keaton. I can't
Yeah.
believe it. Time's flying.
Yeah.
What's day three like?
Well, let me drop a little nugget here that I think you alluded to, but it's honestly, it's like the big elephant in the room in this industry, and that is people have to spend so much time marketing their course and consulting that they can't actually focus on creating a quality product, because there's so much noise out there. So you were talking about launching like a normal course. Like, let's say I know when I sold my agency and I wanted to put all of my knowledge down super fresh. I didn't have anything else to do because I hadn't really started the business yet, right? It took me a solid 2 months of like 8-hour days recording everything I knew. And that was 50% of the course, you know? And I launched with 50% done. And the marketing took almost as long as creating that whole course thing. And
Yeah.
so, and long term, you think about it, people get in, it's like, oh, I built the course, I'm good. I'll wash my hands of that. It's built. I don't have to update it. But really, the like it's like all these course creators and coaches spend 90% of their time selling, 10% of their time actually getting people results, and then they wonder why everybody leaves. They wonder why people don't have good experiences, you know? It's almost like we should take some notes from HighLevel and flip it, spend 10% of our time on marketing and 90% of our time on product, and we'd get amazing referrals, we'd have rock solid reputation, and that's really what this enables you to do as well. And we'll go over in the retention and lifetime value portion of today, what that looks like long term. So to recap what we're going to cover today, as you mentioned, we're going to look at a little closer at, sorry for anybody who's getting way
Yeah,
too
man,
many things
my
flashing on their
eyes are
screen.
yeah, my eyes are
when
blinking.
I
My
when I
eyes are
exit out of
blinking.
when also I wanted to, someone told me yesterday my mic was too quiet compared to Paulson's. Is that, I just turned it up, so let me know in the chat if that sounds better. Um
My mic is like kind of pro pro like
yeah,
brand or whatever, so it's like extra sensitive and it does a great job of noise canceling. So then it's
yeah,
like, oh, you're very crisp and yeah.
yeah. No,
Sorry.
you're
Didn't
good.
mean to.
Let me pull I'm gonna exit out of here and pull the Facebook chat over on my other monitor actually so I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So going
Mic
back
is
to what you're saying is like, the mindset of why people don't launch is because they develop that perfectionism and this syndrome of like, oh, let me just make sure everything is done right before I can go to market. And it's kind of like fitness journeys, in my opinion. When I first started going to the gym, I started posting on social that I was going to the gym, and obviously
mm,
the wife was not happy about that. Side note, she's like, "Honey, why are you posting all this random, you know, trips to the gym? It's not a good look, right?" But for me, it was like, okay, if I'm gonna post about it, now I can't miss a post, and all of a sudden, because I made my announcement to the world, I'm gonna actually follow through. So a lot of times It's about creating accountability for yourself and announcing and letting everybody know, putting together a beta that you're going to do this. And when you have a beta group of people that are like waiting for you to now show up and deliver, it
Hmm.
puts the right type of pressure, in my opinion. So, n now I don't post much about it, but it's like now I've created those habits. Now I've created my product. Now I know there's students that are building custom case studies and all these different things. Anyways, back to you, kid. Back to you.
Yeah. I just saw Deb said, I've purchased more than one course where they were not even started with the modules and months go by without any learning. It is awful. I do not want to do that type of thing. And I've had the same exact experience, Deb. And that's why it's okay to sell the access if that's the expectation. But if you're saying, oh, we're going to have all these modules and it takes you 6 months to do it, yeah, like people are going to ask for refunds and they will be justified in doing that. And then I also see Cal said talking about templates on the replay yesterday. Keaton put templates in the chat. Is there no chat on replay where I can find the templates, etc.? Thanks. So Ethan's going to put the offer link, and anytime you want to take advantage of that today, you can. He'll put that in the chat. And what it is you're going to get all of the templates and automations and the entire snapshot 10 plus funnel templates as well. And that's for getting a 30-day free trial or for upgrading your current HighLevel account. On top of that, I also include monthly calls inside of my affiliate community for a little bit of ongoing support. And my team answers questions inside of that community daily. Plus, I have 3 other snapshots you can get for SaaS for your agency and for getting other clients' results as well. So,
And for those people that already have high level and they're not ready to upgrade, or let's say they're already on the highest plan, we have a surprise for everybody, right?
we do. We do.
Okay. All right. Stay through. Let's keep going.
Love it. Okay, so let's keep putting stuff in the chat because I'll reference that a little bit better than I have been on the other days. But let's go into this email launch strategy again real quick. This is in the snapshot, but again, this is the key to launching quickly, guys. If you have an easy yes offer, meaning they can get started for a low dollar amount and it's solving their exact problem. There's urgency, meaning they have to make the decision within the next few days. There's scarcity, meaning that there's only a limited number of spots available, and you have proof that this works. You can pretty much sell anything. This is like I need this, the idiot marketer's guide to actually selling stuff. If it's easy to get started, you have urgency and scarcity and proof, pretty much anything can fly off the shelves. And what a lot of us forget is this urgency and scarcity. And that's why, again, this hybrid model is so helpful. So first email is, hey, on this date, I'm going to be opening the doors to my brand new community. This is what it's called. It'll be a community of this kind of business that vacation/outcome. Vacation is what we talked about on day one, selling the vacation. So what's the exact thing they're going to get without the bad thing that they don't want included there? I'm making it super accessible to get started for only, let's say $200, $100, but I'm limiting this first intake to this amount of people. So there we go. We've got easy yes. We've got the scarcity. Stay tuned for tomorrow's email to get the full details. The subject line will be community name invite. And then at the end, we say this, PS, if you want to skip the line and come inside before the rush, reply skip and I'll get you all the details. Again, there will only be 5 spots, and once they're gone, the doors will close. So keep an eye out for tomorrow's email or whenever you're sending the next email, right? And this is in the snapshot right here in the world's simplest email campaign, this launch sequence. All you have to do is go in and edit this for your own niche and exactly what it needs to say. And we have the automation as well that when they reply skip, which we showed here, then it will fire off the invite to them. So this is included here. I just want to talk a little bit about these second emails because I've been hearing this a lot from my clients right now. Like, I want to send more emails, but I don't actually know what to put in them. Here's a list of ideas for you. So case studies and transformations, doors officially opening type email, a direct offer. So you can steal your language from your easy yes offer doc that we built on day one. Principle and wisdom based emails. So prove a point and then sell. So if there's something that you see as like a common misconception or even just a mindset shift that you've gone through, talk about that mindset shift and then say, hey, based on this, this means that you should join my community. For example, a fitness coach, you could take something that's completely unrelated, like Bill Gates said something at one point that was philosophical and good, and you liked that, or whatever celebrity, and you just put that quote in and you say, this quote's really impacted me because of this, this, and this. And because of it, I think you should join my community now. This one can be really effective. This next one, Q&A about the new offer. So if you're launching this new, hey, I've had a lot of questions. Here's what they are. List them, list the answer, list them, list the answer. And then the last one, doors out, closing, scarcity, and urgency. This is where you say, hey, we're closing this Friday, whether we fill these spots or not. So after Friday, you won't be able to join. I don't know when I'm opening it next. So it's worth getting in now. And that will get people to pull their credit cards out and get going. So there's a few examples again in the snapshot of each one of these, not each one, but some of them. So a couple case study templates, doors are open template, an opportunity cost, which is kind of that principle based one, and then the doors closing one that they are just fill in the blank, which is really helpful for everyone. So once you've written out, you only need like 5 emails to launch this thing. And if you don't have an email list, as we talked about before, just put these on your socials. You have some people, and you'll be surprised what people in your socials actually end up going for this type of thing. Like the random relatives and friends I've had reach out to me about stuff is hilarious. Just had like my parents' neighbor reach out because they found my HighLevel channel, right? And if you have everybody has an audience, just sometimes they call it a network, not an audience. And so you're going to build that audience slowly over time of the right people. But for now, leverage the goodwill that you've built just being a good person over your lifetime. And you'll be surprised the types of people that come through.
And what's crazy about that, Keaton, is the more transparent and honest you are about the things that you haven't done,
Mm,
the more engagement comes in. Because, like, most people want something that's relatable. Like, if you look at like basketball, for example, people go crazy about like someone like Steph Curry or Allen Iverson or someone
hmm.
who's not, 7 foot tall, because those guys are relatable to the average
Yes.
person, right? So that there is
Hmm.
a lane there, even if you feel like you haven't accomplished much. You may look at your industry and there's a lot of Lambo bros, right? But in reality, that's not what you're really competing with. What you're competing with is a culture,
Hmm.
the honesty that you can create around you. And that's the way I started off with my agencies. I would do, I don't know if you remember like Be Live platform. It was like a
Yeah.
streaming platform. So I would use Be Live and go live with a bunch of dentists. And we would literally talk about how they hate marketing and how things are not working and how they hate like, staff management and budgeting and all this stuff. It just turned into like this place of truth, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually a prospective dentist would jump on one of my pages and they're like, holy crap, how is he positioned with the experts of the industry or the leaders or the academic dentist? And that
Yeah.
was the way I started building a lot of content back in the day. So in
Smart.
all of your cases, like be very vulnerable, be surprisingly honest, and that's what moves the needle more than you saying, oh, I accomplished $100,000 this week for my client. That goal is so far removed from the average person. That
Yeah.
goal is so far away where it's better to be like, hey, here's what we put together, here's what we struggled. And that's been like, for me, like last 7, 8 years of building content, being in the limelight of a lot of these, mediums and formats, the honesty wins, transparency wins more than anything else. Because then when you bake in case studies, officially door openings, direct offers, principles, and then when you break in Q&As of a new offer, urgency, it people know that you're being honest. People know that you mean well. People know
Yeah.
that there's like this depth behind what you're recommending. Thoughts on that? Just wanted to add my 2 cents.
No, I love it. Yeah, it's like I always thought when I was starting out, and I even did this. I went and got like the professional photo shoot and like, went around, got all these fancy Instagram photos. And then I realized like I'm convincing people that I'm someone I'm actually not. What I should be taking photos of is my everyday life. And so now my picture, like you go to my Facebook, the picture is like me on a walk with my kid, like the picture of the stroller and like my view of the street. It's not a fancy, like they can see I live in a normal neighborhood. I live a normal life, and that makes what I'm saying actually more relevant because they're like, oh, this kind of looks like my life, you know?
Yeah,
Or I'll take a picture of me at my computer because that's where I spend the time building my business, and
yeah,
that is it's so funny how effective that is compared to the guy with the jackknife door Lambo and the Rolex. Like that appeals to a certain crowd,
yes,
but that's not the crowd I want. And so I
yeah,
live my life, and um
yeah,
it's a really fun place to be as a coach
yeah.
once you accept who you are and you're okay putting that out.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I think minivans win, period, because you're being real, you're being
Hmm.
efficient, I don't know what it is, but that's what wins. And I've seen even a lot of influencers and affiliates that worked with us and still work with us. The folks that are very transparent and real, I mean, even like yourself as an affiliate, like the type of trials that come in or the type of engagement, the audience that engage with you, like
Yeah.
we can see the difference
Yeah.
versus someone who is you know presenting the best version of themselves or the most accomplished version of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like but anyways, let's get back to emails, and these are ideas around the emails, just so you all know. I don't mean to rant too much, but
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are these are the actual email content that will really work and engage the best is when you're building that vulnerability into these strategies.
Yeah. I appreciate that, Paulson. Um, Pause for Raffle. Paulson said I had to put this in.
Yeah, because we were supposed to raffle every single day. We totally forgot about it. So what I did today was like, kid, let's throw a slide in there that says pause for raffle.
Yeah.
So what are we raffling? What are the items? Let me go through the comments. So I'm gonna look at the Facebook streaming.
Hmm.
Okay. Since we just talked about being transparent and being vulnerable, I want you all to type in as a coach the most vulnerable thing you can say to a prospect. Okay. I don't want you to be unprofessional or anything, but I want you to be vulnerable and practice the vulnerability. If and I want you to go through, type in the comments the most vulnerable thing that your students should know about you. And what I'm going to do is just pick a person randomly. And what are the items that we're raffling, Keaton, as people are putting the comments?
Yeah. So it's gonna be 500 cash. Like that's I'll just PayPal that directly to you. A 30-minute call with myself. We can talk about whatever you want to, like lead coaching. Um, and then the last one is my course, Agency Dominance, that I don't sell the course on its own anymore, but you'd get access to that entire library of like my entire playbook for growing an agency to 50,000 a
Wow.
month or more.
So, and this is the first raffle, so the first person could essentially select, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, so let me just go through real quick. Um, all right. I'm just seeing the
Yeah, these are great.
comments. Yeah, I think it's a good exercise when you can be vulnerable in a public setting.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I see more coming in. Let's see. And by the way, there's no one winner or another. I'm just literally picking a random one. So in case, let's see. Let's see. All right, let's go with Carrie Gates MacArthur. She said that I'm a marriage and family therapist. Uh-oh, I lost the comment. Let me
I've
go
got it.
back.
And I
Oh, go
have
ahead.
so many relationship mistakes. I'm one of the messiest people I know, and I am also determined to make the little everybody keeps putting in so much. The little changes it takes to get better.
I love that, Carrie. Thanks for sharing. So, Carrie, if you can put in the comments out of the three items that we're raffling, tell us what your choice is real quick. So it's $500 cash, one-on-one strategy session with Keaton and maybe his team. I don't know. And then the last thing is access to one of his programs. Let's see what Carrie says. I chose Carrie Gates MacArthur because she is putting together a program where she's most vulnerable about her credibility. And I think that's the most beautiful part about this exercise. That's what you have to be the most vulnerable about. That you don't have all the answers, you've made enough mistakes. So that was awesome. So let's see what Carrie says.
She
Let's
wants the
see what.
cash. Don't blame her.
All right, cash it is. So what do we have left over? The one-on-one as well as a course access, right? Which to me is worth probably far more than $500. But either way, thank
Depends
you,
who you are.
Carrie.
Depends who you are. Carrie,
Yeah.
just shoot me. I'm gonna put my email here. Email my team, and we'll take care of that for you.
Okay, awesome. And uh-oh, Carrie Gates MacArthur. All right, let's get going with the next slide.
Cool.
Oh,
Okay, so this is the part I was talking about today. That this is a subtle mindset shift, but it can be completely life changing for a lot of people here. So what most people do when they start coaching is, hey, I've got an audience or I've got a network, as we talked about earlier, and I'm just going to generate leads, and then I'm going to try to turn those leads directly into clients. And this works, as we saw with the guru model. There's people doing almost literally printing money with this model, but it's actually quite inefficient. If anybody knows real lead conversion numbers, they're super low, like 1%. Like you generate 100 leads, you probably close one of them on a really big package. Really good might be closer to 10%, right? And depending on what those costs for the leads are and your cost for your team and the salesperson and all that, you may still be profitable, but there's a more efficient way to actually get this done. And that's turning this lead into a customer first. I would estimate that leads are on average worth more, or sorry, customers are on average worth more than 10 to 20 times more than just a lead. A lead has given you an email. It might be a fake email, it might be their email from third grade, right? Like we don't know how serious they are. But when somebody actually physically pulls out their credit card and buys something from you, you can tell that their pain is a lot higher. Their trust in you is a lot higher. And because they've paid, they're willing to pay attention to what they purchased. And therefore, they're willing to pay attention to you. So it's a super simple thing here. Okay, we go from the audience to leads, and some people will still directly turn into clients, but most people will funnel into this customer section here. So, what do I mean by turn them into a customer before I turn them into a client? This is an easier, this is an even easier easy yes offer than the easy yes offer we talked about earlier. And this just means it's a dollar amount. The amount is not as important as the fact that somebody's pulled out their credit card. So you could go as low as something like $5 to $10. Typically, depending on the industry, I recommend higher than that, kind of as high as you can go, where it's a good amount for you, but it's still something that someone can buy on an impulse purchase. So for me, I do $100 in the business niche. That's a good benchmark, but it doesn't matter as much as the fact that I'm just making the offer. So recently, I've done a lot of work in the last 3 years on building my YouTube channel, and a lot of people have asked me for advice on how do I grow, what do I do, and I decided, you know what, instead of just putting it all out there for free, what if I sold a workshop And there's plenty of people who would want to learn from this. And then we can do a Q&A at the end of the workshop. And that's how I turned people into customers before becoming clients. So I'll go here to the next page and show you kind of how this worked. Oh, and here's, sorry, some more why sell workshops. First sale is the hardest to get. You can get upgrades easily, and it's a low barrier to entry to learn from you, but it's not free, which is really important because if someone's paid, they're likely to pay again. And so this is the live YouTube training I did. Everybody loves a good Stripe screenshot around here. So I sold 16 spots in my live YouTube training. And this was work I was going to do anyway. I wanted to build this course for my students. And I just said, what if I build it for them and then I sell some tickets to people who aren't in my community? And so that's what I did. And this is how it worked out. So 16 tickets at $100 a ticket. It's 1,600, and the delivery is over in 2 hours. Once I've done the workshop, I'm done. I don't have any further obligation to these people. So it's some of the most highest margin, so to speak, on your time that you can get. And then of the 16 people that joined, I got 2 people to upgrade into my community at 200 a week, which was a 1,700 in monthly recurring revenue. And that delivery obviously happens weekly. So I get paid as I actually deliver the service as they pay me.
Quick
And
question for you.
yeah,
Quick question for you. Is this an event that you're talking about? And if it is this happening as part of your initial launch, or is this after it's already launched?
either way, you could, if you're, this is actually a really good strategy if you want to test the way that the market responds to something. So one of these upgrades actually was a student of mine. His name's Jakawan, and he's from Oklahoma, and he's like a real estate savage. Like he knows everything there is to know about real estate investing. And he actually employed this same strategy and sold, I want to say he sold like one more ticket than me, like 17 tickets. And he had, his friends and family and other people on his friends list that kind of know what he does. And he just said, I'm sharing everything I know about real estate. It's $100 and we're doing a live workshop on this day. And so this is another low barrier to entry way to get started, get paid, get some feedback, but you're not doing it for free. And that's the key part here, because when you get them to transact, again, we can ascend them a lot easier. So you could launch with this, but it's also, once you have your community up and running, you're building these resources anyway. So you can sell tickets to the time when okay, I'm going to do a live with my group. Let's sell some outside tickets. The people who come watch, and then a percentage of those upgrade. And it's a really cool strategy to get people who have the money and have the interest into your group without ever actually having to sell them. It's essentially a test drive, but it's paid.
And this is a one-time charge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is really good, you guys. If you're in the early stages, this is pre-content essentially, right? This is before you built out anything. This is just to create an event for everybody to just come and kind of peek out the interest of what you're building. Um, and I know the strategy works because there's plenty of people that has done this and they've taught
Mm-hmm.
this in our communities as well. With all that being said, when we're sharing numbers, these results may vary. We're not implying that you'll make this money either way, just to be from a compliance standpoint on what we're
100%.
teaching. But in reality, um, your audience will respond to you based on this test. I really like this because Keaton, what if my offer's not that good and maybe my followers that I'm building this towards is not part of my community yet? What if like 3 people show up? How should I measure those results? I mean, I'll make 300 bucks. Does that mean it's a failure? Does that mean like enough people don't want my offer? How do you measure something that does really good or really bad? Let's say 100 people show up. Did I price myself too low? Let's say 5 people show up. Am I not in
Yeah.
demand? Like, how do I measure? What's the measuring stick here?
So, a mentor of mine who has over 250,000 followers online, he'll do this, and for context, a good workshop will be like, he'll make like 90 sales. He'll make like 9 grand just doing one workshop from that many followers, right? And his email list is like, I want to say 15 to 20,000 people. And I had hit up my email list and I posted this I think on YouTube and on Facebook, and on Instagram as well. And I probably have 35,000 followers between all of those, right? And I was able to sell 1,600. So it certainly depends on audience size, but it also depends on the topic. I think a topic that more people in my audience are interested in, I could have gotten closer to maybe double this. Um, but what's cool is because it's recorded, I have it in my content library. So when I sell my subscription model, people can hop in there and take a look. But also, if somebody hits me up in the DMs, they're like, hey, I have this question about real estate investing, or I have this question about how to, fix my leaky gut syndrome or whatever it is you help with. Instead of saying, oh, I'll just respond back to you and help you, you're like, cool, I did a masterclass on that. Here you go. It's $100. And if they just ghost and they don't pay, they probably were never going to pay in the first place. They'll stay in your world, consume some of your free stuff, and then eventually they'll probably buy that. And once they see how good your stuff is, they'll be more likely to upgrade if that's right for them. But the faster you can turn someone into a customer, the better.
Got it. I'm following. Let's keep
So,
going.
so as far as the live goes, it doesn't matter as much as, I mean, it's going to give you a little bit of indication about a specific topic, but as long as you make a few sales, that's a good validation that like, hey, this is interesting. If it's zero, either your audience is completely off or nobody wants what you're selling.
Yeah, and typically it's the audience and the offer doesn't match because most
Yeah.
people have not built up an audience and they have a great offer. So often you're presenting the offer in front of someone who doesn't know anything about it or is not relevant. So typically that's what I've seen. It's not the offer that's the problem. It's the audience
Yeah.
who doesn't want your offer yet because you haven't built the audience. Because typically, for you to get to a point where you're like, you know what, I'm an expert at this, I want to teach this, that means you've went through the trenches of building that offer already. You built the
Yeah.
business, maybe a service, maybe other programs around it. So typically, it's not the offer in
Yeah.
this educational scenario. Keep going.
Exactly. Yeah. So I want to show you kind of an alternative here, which is this is how I launched my flagship course, Agency Dominance, which is one of the giveaways today. And I started it out at $9.97. That was like the hey, this is a launch day price. But I had a pre-sale and I was really upfront in the pre-sale, like, hey, it's not done. And even on the day I sold it, I'm like, look, there's tons to go through here, but it's not completely finished.
Be
And that's
vulnerable.
why the price is where it is. And on the pre-sale, that's all these 800s you see here. That this was, hey, the price is going up in 2 weeks. If you believe in me and you already trust me, like just buy it. This is the best price I promise you it will ever be at. And it comes with this, and this, right? And then these lower amounts are payment plans on the 997. So when I launched, my audience was smaller at the time, but I got 14 pre-sales at 800. So this is 11,200. 4 pay in fulls at 997 on launch day. I think this would have been higher, but I had hyped up the pre-sales a lot, and so that sort of like was lowered the amounts on the actual day. And then 5 payment plans at 400, which was 2K. And if you're in coaching, the payment plans are kind of a gamble. Like you never know if you're going to collect that entire amount. So I didn't count the revenue there. I only counted what I actually collected that day. So in the first day of launching, within the day of my launch, obviously I had been doing the pre-sale for 2 weeks there. It was like 17K was my course launch, but my delivery included months of calls and there was no MRR. Okay.
And
So
this is an alternative to what you just shared before, right?
this is if we're going with the traditional like guru/course model. It's showing you, hey, this is what a launch day could look like. This is what it looked like for me. And obviously, all this cash up front is great, but I had to do months of calls to deliver on this. So I wasn't just like done with it. And I had had 2 months of actually building this course before I could launch it. And it was a lot of work. Whereas the workshop, you can get some customers, send them into the weekly payments ASAP, and you've got a really nimble model there that you can start up a little bit faster rather than this, which looks great on day one, but
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
actually do the job quite as well in some ways.
Interesting. So what you're recommending is a workshop model then?
Yeah, I mean, either one is going to work if you really feel like the course model is the best one for you, and you've got 8 hours a day for 2 months to build it out. Then and this feels amazing to you, and that's all you want to make from it. Uh, Go for it. But if instead you feel like the workshop and the course model is, or the hybrid model is going to be better for you, which spoiler alert, it is. I would go there. And one more thing, Paulson, that I want to like mention here. The minute I switched from I have a course to I have a consulting program with payments and access to me, the caliber of person reaching out took like a quantum leap.
Mm,
Courses are for beginners. Beginners buy courses. Advanced people buy access, because courses are slow. Like you got to go through a lot. You got to do the assignments, all that kind of thing, and the marketing just tends to be more towards beginners, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But you're going to deal with a lot of the same questions, a lot of the same problems. Like, oh, I signed up and like I haven't gotten a client on day one, and so I need to quit. That can happen a lot. Whereas on the other model, you're going to get people like I had a one of my idols that I was planning on reaching out to for coaching, reach out to me for coaching because I was selling access, and I was demonstrating that wisdom that we talked about on yesterday's call.
yeah.
So it's a play to actually get higher quality folks in as well and get money
Yeah.
from people. Like there were people that showed up to that workshop. I never would have been able to sell them an agency course. They didn't want it, but they
Yeah.
showed up to a small workshop on a key detailed thing about how I do one thing, you know?
Yeah. Let's pause for a second because I think that was one of the most powerful lessons I've ever heard anybody articulate. So, well, I guess we have a pause anyway. Can everyone type in education versus access? And going back to the slide, Keaton, the the
Yeah.
the real game here is you figuring out what kind of a customer do you want. Maybe what you want is beginners, and all you want to have is just education out there. Somebody buys a course, and then that's the end of that. I want everyone to type in education versus access. And the key point here, Keaton Megan is making is, let's say you want an advanced avatar, someone who's a bit more, serious about their business and they're not in an exploratory mode, right? They're actually building the business that you're coaching. Access makes a lot more sense. Like I rather pay somebody for 1 hour of their time, take them out to dinner and understand what their paid ad strategies are instead of spending a whole weekend going through a bunch of videos, typically that they don't even get in depth on mostly anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to decide as a expert, as a program creator, what do you want as far as a student is concerned? And then the other aspect of this, Keaton, my biggest takeaway is when you do this matters. Like if you're trying to test out your offer, the previous strategy makes more sense where you're doing a workshop,
Yeah.
you can figure out the topics that they're most interested in, you can figure out the type of people, you could even figure out whether Zoom is a medium versus StreamYard versus something else. Like so there's a lot here that you want to unpack. And I think that's a big thing, right? Education
Yeah.
versus access. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think we should choose one of these education versus access comments though for this next giveaway.
I like that. So what is left for the giveaways? You have the one-on-one access, access, access
There you go.
versus the course, which is education. You don't get to chat with Keaton, but you can log into a portal and
You get my entire brain downloaded into a course, which is, depending on who you are, maybe more valuable.
but I want your heart and your brain, not just
Okay. All
just
right.
the knowledge, right? And that's why I want a one-on-one if I was doing this. But anyways,
Yeah.
okay, type in education versus access, and I'll pick someone here. Let's see. Keep going, you guys. I'm just randomly picking someone so they can win the raffle, and we can move on to the
And
next
make sure
thing.
you scroll up too, because there were probably 25 that came in while the first time you said that.
Let's see here. Let me go ahead and what do they get with the one-on-one versus the courses? Does the course come with like collaterals? Which one is it? Like, help me understand.
Yeah. The course is called Agency Dominance.
Okay,
It's like 180 plus videos about how to. The bottom line is it helps you get an agency to 50,000 a month, and it's got
gotcha.
trainings on HighLevel too. So the one-on-one would be like if you're starting out, the course would probably be more valuable to you because the one-on-one will only be so much. But if you're a little bit more advanced, the one-on-one would be a little bit better. And it's just 30 minutes with me. We'll put it on the calendar sometime in the next couple weeks.
Got it. Let's go with Cesar Vargas.
All
I just
right.
see him. I just see him commenting a bunch of times. I'm like, okay, this guy really wants it. So Cesar Vargas, um, I guess he'll do the access.
Dar Holdsworth, love you, man. Good to see you on here. He said Keaton's on point, very accurate. Listen to what he's touting, people.
I love Dar. He's
Yeah, good
awesome.
man.
Let's see.
Cool. Caesar wants the
See,
course.
all right. All right, so let's keep going. I think these are components of a launch that we all have to be aware of. Whether you provide access or course, like you're spending hours versus, a product.
Yeah.
So anyway, Caesar says course. So the last thing we have left is um the $100,000 check. What was that? What was that?
That's the 101 is left. Caesar, I just put my email in the chat. Shoot my team an email and say, hey, I won this. Can you give me access? And we'll get it to you today.
Okay, awesome. Let's keep going. Let's move faster.
Cool. Okay, so that's I want everybody, the action item from this one is, hey, what's my workshop topic? And it literally could be like my student friend Jacoan. I'm just sharing everything I know on X topic. Join me, it's $100. Or it could be a specific thing like mine that was hey, this is a YouTube masterclass. And just decide what it is and then go from there. Just put it out on the socials and sell tickets. And there's a workshop template in the snapshot here. Um, workshop checkout template. I just make it super simple because most of the selling is doing elsewhere or done elsewhere. Put your
Yeah.
logo in. There you go. And it'll
Yeah.
automatically update with your
Yeah.
name and the year, which is great.
Yeah. And let me warn everybody, when you do your first live, do not even consider thinking about like lives, pre-recorded, Zooms versus StreamYard versus raffles versus price points of 97 versus 100 versus a guest panel versus a Q&A. Just forget about all those things. Just keep it simple. You've set yourself a day to go live and talk about the topic. Don't worry about the mechanics. Don't
Yeah,
worry about the mechanics. That's literally the first like limiting thought most people have. Okay, how do I optimize for better conversion of some, maybe 15 people jumping into a Zoom? It's not that serious. So go all the way in, get the content going, just check off that you had a event. That's the only thing that matters at that point. Yes, I had an
totally
event.
agree.
That's the only KPI that matters. Yes, we were live. That's it.
Um, Great. So let's talk about. lifetime value and keeping people on. Like one of your concerns with this hybrid model, Paulson, rightly so, was churn. How do we help with that? And how do we also make sure that people are getting results and actually adopting what's in the course? So the first one is this: put in some terms where people, if they leave, they can't rejoin for X amount of months. And here's a little hack as well. So let's say my community is 200 a week, and somebody says, "Hey, I'm going on vacation. I want to come. Like, I still want to stay in, but I like it's not worth it to me to pay while I'm on a 3 week vacation or whatever." Say, "Cool, I'll put you on a maintenance plan. That's 50 a week. That retains your access to the community, and then you can re-upgrade and get access to the calls once you get back."
Oh,
And
interesting. Interesting. So that's just basically like they don't get anything but just access to the actual community or the group. Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah. And they or yeah, basically um they're gonna leave. They're buying the option to stay, which is fair because if you're committing to them, they should commit to you. And putting these boundaries in, treating yourself with respect. Agencies deal with this all the time. I would suggest a very similar thing. Like, oh, it's December, it's slow for our industry. Can we pause? Like, yeah, just your maintenance plan is 400 a month. If you want to retain access to working with us, if you want to pause fully, you can't work with us again for another year. So they're going to trade that $400 for the option to come back.
Wow. Can you repeat that one more time? That is pretty clever.
Yeah, they're going to trade no matter what you're selling. If somebody wants to pause, try to sell the ability for them to maintain access with you long term for just a maintenance plan for that month or the 2 months or however long that they want to pause for. And I see someone saying, how do you police that? Like that they don't rejoin before the time is up. This is where having limited spots inside of your community and being the person that's
That they're
actually giving the
accessing. Yeah.
deliverables. That's how that happens. So you see someone that's like trying to rejoin, or maybe they find the payment link somehow and they rejoin. You just say, "I refunded your payment. Sorry, you're not able to rejoin for 12 months." And once they see you're serious about that, they start treating you with more respect, and they'll take that seriously. But the downgrade plan is a really cool hack for anybody that's trying to um,
Yeah.
maintain more revenue. And it's something HighLevel taught me at their SaaSpreneur mastermind: churn revenue, but don't churn clients. So if you have an agency service that's high ticket or a coaching service that's high ticket, figure out how you can get them down. Like if they're like, oh, I want to cancel the Google ads, I want to cancel the Facebook ads. Great, no worries. We're going to just put you on your maintenance CRM plan. And then when you want to re-upgrade, you can. And that's an option. If you're combining SaaS with coaching, okay, as long as you maintain access to the CRM, you pay that fee, you can re-upgrade back into the community when it makes sense for you.
And where did you say you learned that from?
HighLevel, I don't know if you've heard of them.
You're talking about the mastermind. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So everybody come through to the mastermind. I promise you.
Yes.
You know what's the craziest thing, Kian? Me and Chase talk about this often. The folks that come to the mastermind end up getting on the stages for awards.
Yeah,
It's a 10 to 12
that's
month
interesting.
gap. It's a
Yeah.
12 to 10 to 12 month gap. But every single person that I can remember that was on stage for SaaSpreneur Awards or Affiliate Awards, they have came to one of our masterminds. It's like a
Yeah.
weird, whoa, 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 whoa. It's like a weird, like, like a connection. And I can't,
Yeah.
and I promise you, you'll find connections in your ecosystem as you build the program. Like everybody
Mm,
that comes to your workshop may become someone that gets into a certain program versus another because you had a
yeah.
certain topic that you covered. But Keaton, thanks for mentioning the mastermind, man. I think
Yes.
I got sidetracked, but let's go back. Let's go back.
Yeah.
So showing your clients, having some terms, building some guardrails, and putting together a maintenance plan allows you to kind of deflect the wrong people away from you.
Yeah. Yeah. And to get paid what you deserve for them jumping in and out. Um, so this next one is build your workshops for clients, not customers. This is really important. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this yesterday, but a really important nugget when it comes to creating content as well. Sometimes when we create content, it's like we just got off a sales call and this person gave us some like objection that we hated. And so we go right down like, this is why this is such a big problem. And like we get all passionate and we post that, right? The problem with that is the person we have in mind is the person that didn't buy from us. So why are we talking to that person? Instead, I should be thinking about my current clients and how to get them better results and what principles they need to understand. And then I create
Mm,
for them, both on
mm,
my social accounts to advertise, because that's going to attract more like minded people who need that type of help. And in my workshops and other stuff, even though I'm selling tickets, the tickets are just a side benefit. If I have a thriving community with 20, 30, 40 people, my main focus should be on maintaining them because it's much easier for me to maintain them than it is to go find another 15, 20 people to replace the ones that churn because I didn't take care of them.
that's interesting because if you imagine your audience to be your existing customers and you're putting content out there, the
Mm-hmm.
type of content is you're assuming credibility and you have the authority to say XYZ is what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And so it just positions you as a source of really solid information. Um, that's interesting. Keep going.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of nuggets today on day three, man.
Yeah. So the next one is show clients what you're working on next. So don't just have Q&A calls, also show your workshops, your new trainings, etc. So I did this recently in my community. I just said, hey, here's what's coming soon in the guild. I'm making this training, this training, this training, this training. And these are the
Mm.
dates they're going to release. And what's everybody inside of a community where they can quote unquote leave at any time. They it's not quote unquote, they can leave at any time, but obviously the maintenance plan we talked about, they're every week or every month, they're reevaluating whether this is right for them. And so if you lay out the plan of the additional stuff that you're going to do for them, they're like, oh, I need to stay until at least that date because then I'll just get that for free. It's easier. I don't have to buy the ticket and I can keep getting help, you know? So always be talking about what's coming next.
Yeah, and to that point, it doesn't have to be necessarily strategic education. It could be a resource. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if any of y'all seen Sean coming at you live videos every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we also make announcements about our roadmap that next month this is
Mm-hmm.
dropping. Next quarter, this is dropping. So how in the world would you feel comfortable canceling high level when you know this thing is dropping next week?
Exactly.
We didn't even mean it to be that way, but that's literally what happens.
Yep.
Right? So similarly, I think I've seen a lot of coaches do resources like that. Hey, next week I'm dropping an email marketing PDF for everybody, right? And it's like a tactical thing. It's or like, hey, I'm dropping a snapshot next week for anybody that wants to do AI chatbots,
Yep.
right? So it's like a thing, an object versus just education of a strategy or idea.
Yes, exactly. Um, this next one, allowing discounts on your upsells for your community members. So this is like, I should call this one the Costco strategy. Uh, I heard once, I haven't verified this, but I heard that Costco makes most of their money from the annual membership fee, not the food.
You mean subscriptions?
I do, yeah. It's almost like some sort of theme here.
Fantastic. Every business, like BMW, for example, I think the new lines that they have, uh, you have to pay a monthly subscription fee for certain features
Hmm,
inside of the car, like heated
interesting.
seats, some kind of
Dang.
stupid thing. I'm like, everybody's going to subscriptions. It's the coolest business
This
model in
is
the
out of
world.
hand. Yeah.
Never heard of it. Keep going, keep
But
going.
the thing about Costco is you get for just $97 a year, you get access to wholesale prices. So really, you're not, and it's same with Amazon Prime, you get access to faster shipping, right? And so you're like, oh, I'm not going to cancel my Amazon Prime because if I do, then like every single thing I do is going to be more expensive, right? So same thing with the community. Here's the fee that you come into, and what this gets you is discounts on all these other things when you need them. The SaaS is discounted, the agency services are discounted, your one-on-one calls are discounted. If somebody wants to upgrade into maybe like having a one-on-one Slack channel with you or something like that, that can be discounted. But you can maintain really high prices outside of your group. Like, let's say, for example, I charge $800 an hour for a call, but if you're inside my group, it's 400. So it's not free, but it's, hey, that's way more affordable, and it's super nimble for me to be able to just get a little bit more lifetime value out of my clients and them to get the help that they need when they need it, because they can access that perk. And then it's another thing where they're like, oh, they're weighing the benefits of staying in. They're like, oh, I may as well because I might need that one-on-one call soon.
Yeah, I love it. It reminds me of when we went to Disneyland. We bought the fast pass so
Mm-hmm.
you can like skip all the lines. But in reality, all the lines were the same size, right? Like mostly all of it was pretty crowded. But I ended up going to every ride because my perception is, oh, I've got fast pass, let me go,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So then I don't skip out on any rides because I'm thinking I can get in, but same thing applies. It's like it's perceived value often of access and speed of access.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to. Keep
Yeah.
going. Let's keep going. There's a lot of
Cool.
nuggets today. You guys gonna all have to watch this on replay, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, so engaging the group. This one's very simple. Post some wins, not just business wins, personal wins. Like, what's your business or your biggest non-business win this month or this week or whatever? Just get people talking to each other, because when they commit, like, it's like a gym. When you make friends at the gym, you're more likely to keep that gym membership because you know they're counting on you. You're looking forward to the interactions between sets, all that kind of thing. And then, like, if you're hearing the same thing from most people, you can just release something that's 2 minutes long that fixes this. So, like, okay, everybody's got this same objection that they're coming up against when they're trying to sell what I'm helping them sell. Here's how I handle the objection. And I literally just film a video of myself, put it into the group immediately, and get them the help that they need as fast as possible, so people don't have to wait until the call to do that.
Yeah, and Kian, can you also elaborate on why you want coaches and consultants or authorities in this space that are building programs like this? Like why post personal wins? Like to me, it's the culture that you're building around it. Is that
Mm.
is that what you're feeling or?
Yeah, like, it's like we talked about with the minivans versus Lambos thing. Like, like, if everything is business, there's a certain avatar that likes that, but everybody in your group has a life outside of your group. And
Yeah,
if you can meld those worlds, like, some of my favorite stuff is when I go to the HighLevel event and like all my agency friends and HighLevel, friends, and we're just sitting there hanging out, doing what we would normally be doing, but it's
yeah,
the people who have the business context, and we can crack jokes about business stuff, even though we're playing ping pong or whatever.
yeah.
So melding those two worlds is pretty powerful.
Yeah, and like one of the things that I've learned from the 5 day challenge, actually, we relaunched the 5 day challenge inside of High Level. By the way, you can jump into it. We're about to do another live session like next week. Um, we heard about stories inside the 5 day challenge, Keen, where people in the same cities were getting together for lunches.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. So it's like people will just say, hey, I'm from Houston, I'm from Dallas, I'm from Florida, Virginia. And then other people in those same cities will reach out and they will meet up for lunch. So then all of a sudden, we saw this phenomenon around High Level where people were, whoa, 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 Zoom is going off. We heard about this phenomenon where people were meeting in person. Now, how does that affect our platform when users are meeting in person?
Hmm.
Right? And
Powerful.
so
Yeah.
it's incredible. Like I'm telling you, no churn will come out of that. Neither parties. If you had met somebody that's in High Level in person and you went to lunch with that person, we have something to stand on that we brought two users together. Same
Yeah.
thing applies to all of you in the coaching space that are interested in this, right? If two of your students get together on an item, whether it's virtual or in person, even if they just Zoom together, it has nothing to do with the content, it has nothing to do with you. It's all about the culture you created in those communities.
Yes.
And that eliminates your churn 1000%. And I have hundreds of case studies on this. Keep going, keep going.
Yeah.
I don't want to overbear here, but these are ideas that I think is relevant to what you're showing.
No, 100%. And of course, I was in way back in the day. They said find an accountability partner and practice sales calls. And I kid you not, I just posted, "Hey, who wants to do sales calls?" This random guy from the UK commented, and we got a practice sales calls. He was selling to accountants. I was selling to orthodontists, and we just kept talking, kept talking. Long story short, I moved to London during COVID for a while. We ended up being roommates, and we're still like really good friends to this day.
Wild.
And you can bet that's part of why I bought the upsell. You know, like access. Who am I going to meet? That's awesome in this next tier. And that's something that's everybody's going through everybody's mind when they meet awesome people and you've created a great community. There are literally people who don't even have to sell coaching because they just get people together. Like these, I'm forgetting. I have a friend, Todd Westra. He's in the
Yep, Todd is great.
this,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
and he started something called the Captain's Council, which is, I told him I won't do it because it's virtual. I only do like in person, like meetups. I don't like Zoom meetups, but he just gets 12 people together. They have to be doing a certain amount of revenue, and they get on, and everybody can just talk about their problems. And he doesn't even have to put any coaching stuff together. Like he
Yeah.
literally is the highest margin thing in the world, right? And that's even more valuable than a course to somebody in the right situation. Pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally what we're talking about when it comes to adoption and retention. It comes
Yeah.
from the culture you build, not the expertise you have. Because in reality, they can find better expertise anywhere. As soon as a new blog and an article is released about AI, now your AI stuff is already outdated, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you can build a business around education on the info. You have to build it on the culture. Let's
Yeah.
keep going. Let's keep going.
Great. So if a couple of things, and I'll show you where these are in the snapshot. Automated email sequences to gauge satisfaction and to encourage consumption. So we did one of these. Whoops, we did one of these yesterday, but I'll show you what we got. So in the course engagement help, this is, hey, we've waited 3 days to see if they've actually watched any of the course yet. And then if they haven't, we say, hey, what's going on? Here's some tips on like how to get started inside of the course. Wait 2 days and send the same thing. But another one we've got in here is the satisfaction one, which is really important. Um,
Can you
and
zoom in a little bit? Yep.
yeah, thanks. So this one would be we grant the access to the group and we wait about a week and then we send this email. Hey, Keaton here, just wanted to check in. You joined the guild a week ago, and I want to make sure you're getting all the help you need. If there's anything that hasn't met expectations, please let me know so I can help you out. If you're 100% satisfied, still please hit reply and let me know what your favorite training or part of the guild has been so far. Appreciate you, Keaton. Super simple, great way to get feedback, great way to get ahead of problems where people may have had like some sort of mismatch in expectations, and you can literally automate it inside of HighLevel.
I love it. I mean, if you don't automate all this, then you're doing a lot of manual work and don't
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
system behind it. Because, in reality, sales is what matters at the end of the day. And for you to
Hmm.
be able to get efficient at it, you have to have these systems. All right. So what else are we looking at?
Yeah, so this is like honestly one of the very first things I ever learned in the internet marketing world, and it just never stuck, but it's so crucial. Buyers in motion tend to stay in motion. Somebody somebody called this identify buyers in heat. So these are people who are like, I need this problem solved and I need it solved now. And I am like in pain in this very moment, right? And so let's say somebody buys the workshop. Once they get inside the workshop, you should be selling, you should be talking about your upsell, because obviously you're going to deliver the benefits to them and like give them great value inside of the workshop. But if they're in pain right now about this thing, you can bet there's a percentage of them that are willing to pay more right now to get it fixed. And so the sooner you can get them to pay that, the more you can collect in terms of revenue there. And then lastly, on the community, if somebody, and I'll show you in the snapshot where we put this in, but if like certain people join communities for the community, but some people just want access to you and they want it for a period of time and then they're going to drop off, and that's fine. So consider adding in like, okay, there's a tier that's just the community and the call a week. And then the only thing you add for an extra $100, $200 a week is, hey, you get a private channel with me. And then there's a tier above that that has maybe an extra call that's really limited. That's your like exclusive mastermind. But if like you'd be amazed how many people will take an upsell that's just, hey, I get a little bit of extra access and I'm in a lot of pain right now. And so if I can DM you versus just having to post in the community, that's worth an extra X amount.
Got it. And there's different types of buyers, right? There's folks that'll just
Mm.
buy all your offers at once because they just want full access of everything. And that's
Yeah.
because they're like, all right, I'm sold on this guy. Let me move in. I'm gonna buy everything. That you'll
Yeah.
see people like that. And then you'll have folks that are like, okay, what's the coupon code? How much do I get off? They're like
Yeah.
just, going back and forth. And it's like the other extreme of like, well, it's been a year. I've been watching your content and I'm ready to buy your $57 program. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I mean, I appreciate it. Let's move forward. But their expectation is that they're gonna rebuild their whole business with your $57 program. And you can
Yeah.
tell, you can see the energy.
Hmm.
But keep going, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is the workshop. We actually didn't go over this one at all yesterday, but this is the
Okay.
workshop automation. So
Yeah.
when somebody submits the workout or workshop checkout template, just got back from the gym, so workout template is in my head. We'll tag them as a workshop attendee. We'll add them to the workshop attendee part of the pipeline. And then I've just added this wait step, and this is a little hack for anybody. If you're like, I want to keep all these people in a workflow, but I don't want to like, I'm not sure what's next, you can actually just pause them here for as long as you want. So you could change this wait step to 14 days, or oh, looks like I made a mistake here. It is actually 14 days. I just marked it as 5. So we're waiting 14 days, but it's not that you're actually going to wait 14 days to deliver this. It's just, let's say I sold 20 people in my workshop. They're all going to stall here and they're going to still be in this workshop or this workflow. And then once I'm ready, I can actually manually move them forward and say, let's push all of these to give them the offer and give them the upsell email. And there's a couple tweaks I need to do in here. So I'll do those tweaks and then I'll push people through the rest of the workflow. So again, this isn't, you're actually supposed to wait 14 days. It's just buying you the time as long as you need to get the course ready that has the workshop replay, which this will grant them access to. And then we just send them this as soon as we send them the replay. I hope you enjoyed our recent workshop. We did as much as I did. I wanted to let you know that we still have 2 out of the 5 spots left for this intake of the guild. You can get in started for as little as $200. And the very first thing we do is get on a one-on-one call with myself to get crystal clear on the next 3 months of action for you. If you'd like more help implementing what we spoke about this week, I'd love to have you in the guild to your success, and then sign your name, right?
Yeah. And then feel free to change this up based on what you have going on.
Oh,
Maybe you're doing
100%.
a maybe
Yeah.
you're doing a master class. Maybe you're not doing like a workshop. Maybe you're doing an interview. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
the very first workshop that I've ever tested inside of HighLevel when we were like, okay, it's time that we do something education wise, I had called up Joel Kaplan,
Hmm.
one of my friends at the time in the world of marketing. We did a 10-day workshop, literally 4 hours each day. Sean and Robin and these guys said it was the craziest thing. They're like, Paulson, this is a never-ending workshop for a week and a half. But it brought in such high volume of views and eyes and a lot of awareness around what we were doing. But then, going back to where we are today, I would probably do a master class for 60 minutes because it can do the same type of effect. So you have to
Yeah.
test different things. You have to test different formats, short form, long form, depending on what you're trying to do. Just feel free to change up the formats and naming
Yeah.
conventions and automations.
And when you think about it, like the shorter you can make it, it's actually better
Yep.
because let's say I have a 30-minute workshop, Paulson, it's my absolute best stuff. I sell it for
Yeah.
$100. You
Yep.
on Saturday, you don't even know I exist. You buy it Saturday
Yeah.
night because you're in pain. You watch it Sunday and you're like, I have to
Yeah.
work with this guy. You sign up Monday. But if I
Yeah.
have a 12-hour course and I sell that to you and I'm over delivering, then you take 3 months to go through the 12-hour course. You're like, that was really good. And by that time, you fixated on someone else that you're going to buy coaching from.
Yeah. And you
You
made
know?
this point on day one. If you over deliver, you kind of under position your offer,
Yeah.
right? It's like if I did a 10-hour workshop in one day, then why would they pay for one-on-one access?
Yeah.
Right? So
Exactly.
we have to really think through of what the delivery style is. Keep going. Let's keep going.
Yes. Um, by the way, if you want access to this all of these workflows for community sales, course sales, 10 plus funnel templates, and continued support from myself and my team on getting this up and running, the link for that is going to be in the chat. Ethan Crisp is going to send that. He's posted it a couple times, but it's gohighlevel.com/ Keaton Walker offer. And that's included with upgrading or signing up for a free trial with HighLevel.
Yep. And you get affiliated to Keaton as well.
Yes,
So you
sir. I
get
get,
access to a ton of his community and all the things that he has going on. That's something we do for these events, just in general. Okay, what else do we need to cover for
yeah.
day three?
So our last one here is just capitalizing on success and turning your happy customers into pay in fulls. So the biggest objection that people have on this hybrid model is like, well, why would I only collect $200 the first time if I could collect $10,000, which is what the a yearly membership to the guild technically is $10,400 for me. But I start people out with the 200, and then if they're getting awesome results and they're like, this is amazing, like I want to be in here for a long time, like cool, let's save you some money. I'll give you 25% off 7K today, and that gets you access for the rest of the year. I get some upfront cash flow. I lock that in because you really never know what's going to happen. Like somebody who's like, oh, it's amazing. I want to be in here forever. The next week can be like, I had some cash flow issues and, you know, I'm going on vacation. Like, let's cancel. And so, and this one, you can't really automate it. You can try, but really it should be you're engaging with people and you see that they're super happy. They're on a really good day where things are going well. That's the day it's going to be easiest to sell them on a pay in full. And so have that ready and you can just add them to that workflow. It's like, hey, uh, name, I'm super excited about the results you've been getting, or you could just DM them. What do you think about locking it in for the next 6 months, the next 3 months, the next year, whatever timeline makes sense?
Yeah. And Keaton, I've seen this whole pay in full thing in different levels of tiers. Like I've seen coaches where they have like a VIP inner circle where you have to pay in full to get access to it. So you're
Mm-hmm.
like someone who's like evangelistic, almost all in about who you're actually being coached by,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
like there are pricing strategies on things like that because the price ultimately doesn't change for any student, but just because you pay in full, you can get access to VIP or inner circle. I know that's some of
Mm-hmm.
the strategies I've seen people do. Have you seen that before or
Yeah,
any
or
thoughts?
adding in some bonuses. So I I some tips are, if you're going with this hybrid model, don't overcomplicate it while you're selling them. It should be as simple as possible to get started. Hey, 2000, or it's $200 a week, it's 100 a week. They don't see any other prices. And then you have a couple options on the page where they sign up. You can put the pay in full option there, and a percentage of people will just take that, even though you never mentioned it previously. And you'll say, hey, it's usually 5,000 a year, but right now you can get it for 3,000 here. Or once they sign up, they make that first payment. On the next page, you could have a one-click upsell that's, hey, I've got this one-time offer for you here. If you want to lock in the next year for 25% off, you can do it right now. In addition to that, you could say it's not just get 25% off. It's we're actually going to do an hour-long call instead of a 30-minute call, or you can save another one-on-one call for whenever you need it, like put it in your pocket for a rainy day, and add some other bonuses in there that they don't get if they're only paying weekly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a brilliant positioning, I think. And someone said the extended free trial is great framing. Yep, we know that works. Access, it's basically access, right? That is driving the actual buyer more than content, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I can be among these people, have accountability partners, and that the culture is there, and that's, it's. I think it's so crazy that that's what we actually pay for. Like when I've always bought courses, I look at who's in the program, who are the
Yeah.
top players in that program, and that's
Mm,
who I want access to. And I
yeah.
never even log into the course. I'm like, oh, Keaton has this many top players around him. Let me have
Yeah.
access. And I pay full at whatever it is just so I can hang out with those people because that's what matters most is like the small nuggets that you share in interactions. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Anything else that we need to share for day three? Ta-da! Dun, dun, dun,
This
dun,
is when we need the
pause.
fireworks that Zoom's been doing for you.
I know it's the upgrades. I don't know where it goes. But anyways, okay. So let's go back to the original task or ask, which is putting down your biggest takeaways so far. We shared a ton of content today, a lot of great detailed suggestions. So if you don't mind in the comments, tell us what's been your biggest takeaway for any day one, two, or three. And what are we raffling? It's
30-minute call with myself.
oh, I
We
thought
can
I thought
talk
it
about
was
whatever you want. You want to talk about Paulson the whole time? We can. I'll tell you
Hey
everything
man,
I
I
know about
thought
him.
I thought it was 10 hours with Keaton Walker. Okay, so let's see. Biggest takeaway, Caroline says, let me read some of these out. Um, let's see. Biggest takeaway
I love this.
is
Focus on the
focus
clients you
on
have, not the
clients.
ones that left. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really brilliant point. Let's see. Best way to make upsells. Winning this is as hard as picking the NCAA brackets. Oh man. Okay, let's see. Setting up the strategy for acquiring then keeping customers, community aspects of MRR, doing a workshop and charging for it. Show clients what you're working on next. Yes, that's a brilliant one. Day one, business outline, set the stage, keep it simple, pace your performance, be better than most, but always have time to tank you could sell. Okay, cool. Let's go with let's see, I see so many comments coming in now. Let's go with Angela Roth. Turn them into a customer first, then a client. Okay.
Right. Angela, raise the roof.
All right. Sorry, you guys. I'm just picking someone random so we can get going with the content. But we'll have more goodies. We have one more big goodie that I think everybody's excited for, which is going to be the snapshot link for those of you that already have an account. So let's keep going. And what does she need to do? She needs to
Oh yeah, Angela, just email me at this email and we'll get you set up.
okay, cool. All right, let's keep going.
Um, that's actually it for the content I had today. I
Okay.
figured today, since it was the last day, it'd be good to reserve some extra time for
Okay.
Q&A, because we haven't been able to get to all the questions the last couple of
Okay.
days. Is there
So
anything you want me
I
to?
haven't yeah, I have an ask for you because I had
Mhm.
feedback from people from yesterday. Is there any way you can review some of the automations that you kind of just shared yesterday? Just
Yeah,
go over the workflows, just go over what's inside the snapshot. So that way people are
100%.
aware of what's coming. And yeah, so let's just do a quick walkthrough of high level real quick and
Yeah.
what you're providing just in general if somebody signed up for a trial through this.
Yeah. So what's amazing about HighLevel is we've got everything in one spot. This dashboard, well, it doesn't have any relevant data right now because this is a dummy account. This would be filled with the info of your particular account. And the where this is pulling from is this pipeline here. And anyone who DMs you, we have it automatically set up to uh, populate right here inside of this column here. So let's say I was a DM to myself. This is going to populate here. And then I'll be able to go in, hit, okay, I want to talk to this person, email them back, DM them back. Okay, I'm done there. I'm going to go back to opportunities and I'm going to move this person to interested and we'll leave it there for now. But somebody else comes in, they're another lead or DM. That would be another opportunity. We'll say it's Paulson this time. Um, this is how you add it in. And we hit create. Now we're waiting for him to show up. Maybe it didn't save.
I think you have to have an email or phone number or something. I
Oh,
don't
for it
know
to
if
show. Okay.
I, I don't know if it can be just a name. Maybe it can be as a placeholder. And by the way, when you're streaming on Zoom and doing a live stream like right now, the browser on high level usually is a little bit slower. This is not how slow it is in actuality.
Yes, sir.
Just FYI.
Um, sorry, slowed us down here. Okay, here we go. So back here, there you are.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So let's say Paulson DMs and he's like, I'm ready to join, but I'm closed right now. I could drag him over to waitlist. And then if you have a waitlist automation set up, it'll say, hey, awesome. Glad you're on the wait list. I'll let you know when the doors open, maybe send them a little bit more information. So we can fire off automations based on that, which is the beauty of high level. So once we understand the opportunities dashboard, which we understand updates this dashboard here, then the next thing to look at here is in settings and custom values. This is beautiful. One of my favorite parts about snapshots is I can come in here and I put in, okay, community name long, community name short. So for me, this is the Dominators Guild. And for the short one, it's just the guild, right? And then the course name, I just put example course. Let's say that's the name of your course. You come in here and you just edit this, and that's going to be updated across all the emails inside of the workflows in here. Okay. And all the text, anything that you send, this is going to be updated immediately, which is super handy for you because let's say you end up changing the name, you can just come in here and swap the name out and not have to change it in 72 different places and wonder if you got it right. So once you have those updated, you're ready to come into the automations here. Really, we should probably look at sites first, actually, which is these funnels. So on the affiliate community side, this is a kind of a hack that I did because I have accidentally became an affiliate marketer last year, and I got a lot of affiliates. I needed a place to continue to help them, and so I just ended up creating an affiliate community, which is inside of the memberships here and communities. So if I hit login here, you'll see I've got my own domain here and it brings up the community here. Obviously, this is just a dummy one here. But what's cool about um, these things here is I can show, hey, here's exactly how I set mine up. So if you wanted to do something similar, like you can join your community for joining any one of these tools on your affiliate link. You can steal my template for doing this, which is great. And then let's say you want to do one on a lower ticket. It's not affiliate based. It's just they pay you. Then you could do one for 49 a week, 50 a week, and this checkout is set up for you. And then on the affiliate side, sometimes they have to submit proof. So we have a nice form for that. The main community, we just have a simple checkout here, which is here's how to achieve the result. You just come in and fill all this info in, and then it's ready to go for you. And then lastly, I've just got a bunch of other things that may be useful to you depending on your model. So the course that I sold, 170 plus copies of last year, I have the checkout template for that, just here. And then we've got some mini course checkout pages, which you can look at. And these are all just included. You can steal them, keep them exactly the same, change the colors, whatever you want to do. But some good examples of like the beautiful stuff you can build inside of HighLevel. This one's great, a lead generation page. I'm just opening them all so we can look at them all in a row. And the workshop template we talked about earlier. So there's the checkout pages for the communities. There's the course one. This one's like a mini course, just a little bit different setup to what you maybe saw in this one here. This is like a mini course, maybe bundle, like reselling your workshops page that I've recently set up. This one is for how to achieve name, result, and time frame. This is a case study page. So if you send out an email with a case study, if with an interview you did with somebody, you put them on here and then you put the call to action there. It's a nice little strategy. This is a beautiful conversion, like lead conversion page where you can generate leads from, and everything's set up perfectly for you here. And then the workshop one that we showed you earlier today. So the reason I'm going over all of those first is I'm going to reference them in the automations. And when it comes to the automations, we've got the email campaign, which I covered earlier today. This is how to launch your course, and there's fill in the blanks stuff. And then there's also if they respond skip or they respond the name of your community, then it's going to automatically send them an invite and the payment link to your community. On the workshop side, we went over this one earlier today as well. So it grants them, adds their tag, it updates their opportunity. And then once we actually want to give them access to the replay and try to upsell them, we can push them through the rest of that. Then the DM triggers, this was kind of a hot item yesterday. If somebody DMs you on Instagram or Facebook, you can set up a customer replied step here. So they reply on Instagram and it says one-on-one. Let's say you're selling a one-on-one program, then it's going to send them a message right back and you can customize what that message says. So I currently have this set up on my Instagram. Some of you guys have been testing it to see if HighLevel works over the past couple of days. I've been watching you. It does work. Spoiler, you can go to Instagram right now and DM me guild, the word guild, and you'll see exactly how that one works. And then what's great is if somebody responds to us anywhere, it's going to update it on that opportunities dashboard that I talked about earlier. Last ones here, we've got an abandoned checkout workflow, which is really cool. So if somebody opts in but doesn't actually complete their payment, then we'll hit them back up with some, hey, what happened? We're saving a spot for you, and send text and email follow-up to see if we can get them to convert. That's on the course side. And then also just some basic, course sale we'll grant them the course. It'll add them to the pipeline and send a notification to our team. That one's actually unique in that I send it up to be a Slack notification. So if you use Slack, HighLevel can send that notification straight to you there. That's how we manage notifications inside of HighLevel for me, because I want to be notified and make sure my team's on it. And then if you're doing sales calls, we also have this confirmation and reminder sequence for sales calls where somebody schedules an appointment. We'll assign that to a user. We'll send them a confirmation email and say, hey, your calls at this date and this time. Quick reminder that we only take X amount of new clients into this community monthly to ensure an amazing client experience. So if you miss or reschedule this call, you may have to wait to get access. So some good framing, authority messaging for you there. And then we'll remind them 24 hours before, an hour before, and 5 minutes before. The course engagement help we covered today. So we're asking if they're satisfied with what they've seen so far, or what help we can give them. We grant them the course access. We rate 3 days, and then we'll try to re-engage them. And then this is just a kind of a side one to make sure that this one works. And then lastly, on the community sales side, when somebody purchases the community from the page that I showed you, so that would be this page, then we're going to add them straight to the community, add a tag, update them in the pipeline, and then send an internal email that says, hey, somebody joined. And then send an email that says, hey, congrats on joining. Excited to get you on the one-on-one call, and send the link for them to schedule. And then lastly, once they schedule their onboarding call, we'll send reminders to them to show up to that call. So an initial confirmation and then a 10-minute before reminder. How'd I do, Paulson?
I don't even know what to say. You've left me. I don't know what it is. When you go into the tech and walk through this, I don't know, you get into this mode and it's very soothing to like watch you and listen to you. I'm like, wow. I got no 2 cents to add to that. That is not my expertise. But I know based on ton of content I've seen that you do, there's a ton of resources that you've built. I recommend everybody to go to your YouTube channel and check out some of the cool
Appreciate that.
things that you do. I watched your stuff the other day on one of the videos you did around third-party providers, not to
Mm,
mention any names. And I was like, yeah, this is very clean, very clear, and it was easy to consume. So I appreciate your style
yeah, I appreciate that.
when it comes to it. So here's the thing, you guys. We are almost towards the end of the 3-day workshop. It is insane. Time like flew by. So if you have time, Keaton, can we do like maybe, let's say, 15 minutes of Q&A?
Yeah.
And first of all, if Keaton is doing this out of the goodness of his heart, I didn't ask him to give away the farm. He's giving away the farm. And Keaton, can I ask why? Why are you so generous, man? Why are you giving this all away?
Um, you know what? It goes against my better judgment. No, I'm just kidding. Um, HighLevel came to me at a time when I desperately, desperately needed it. And when Paulson said, "Hey, do you think you'd be willing to give back to the community with this workshop?" I said, I got to make this good, and it's been fun for me because I've actually never really coached on coaching until very, very recently. This is my first like big thing on that. I've So it's been fun to peel back the curtain and kind of make the standard operating procedures and show people what I do. Um, so it was fun. I owe HighLevel one because they're awesome. And full disclosure, they're paying me if you upgrade or you sign up for a new link or a new account. So, why not?
Yep, absolutely. So you do get affiliated to Keaton when you do sign up, but then again, you get a ton of access. You get his programs, his community. I think with anything, you have to have an expert that went ahead of you. You have to have someone, and I think in every one of these workshops we do, we attract different audiences almost every single time. And this one is, no different than anything else. I see the type of people that are here, and I think they gravitate towards you for a reason. So I'm excited for what's to come. So if you're down for it, let's rapid fire Q&A, pow, pow, pow. And
Let's
if you
do it.
don't mind, type in the letter Q or the word question before you type in your question. So that way I could differentiate the questions versus comments. And what I'm gonna do is rapid fire, which means I'm not gonna input and give my 2 cents. I'm just gonna focus on the next questions so we can get through as many as possible. Okay. People are giving great feedback on so far. Okay, Eduardo says, Kian, what do you recommend or advise us to do if we built courses in English and Spanish? Would like to have your snapshot to manage these two languages?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know High Level is working hard on internationalization. Um, ChatGPT is really good at translating. Likely you'll catch any mistakes that it makes. But there's not as far as I know, a copy paste high level button to just take something from English to Spanish immediately. So I would create a sub account for Spanish and a sub account for English so that you don't have any crossover there and somebody randomly gets something in the wrong language. And just let your Spanish people know, like, hey, there may be something that comes through in English because some of the course or the community emails are automated and will be in English. Um, and the snapshot will work no matter what language it's in. It's just you'll have to kind of manage the text itself there.
Yeah, and to that note, 2024, one of the big focus for product inside of high level is internationalization. So you'll see high level being able to function in multiple languages soon if it's not already there. So Spanish, French, German, Canadian English. No, I'm kidding. But either way, we will get to the point where we are catering to the international communities. That's why the WhatsApp integration is really big. But be on the lookout for that. Okay, so Caroline says, how do you do project management or communicate with your team within high level? We use Slack for communication. We use ClickUp for project management. How about you, Keaton?
Slack and Notion.
Notion.
If you're asking like how to actually do it within high level, I wouldn't. It's not really designed for team communication. It's designed for prospects and customers. Um, but there are a couple like third party. Paulson just mentioned a video I did on my channel about third party providers that have this, and there are a couple people that have built like an Asana or a Notion copy, and you can integrate it directly in high level. So go check out my channel for that.
For sure. Jacob Kerr's asking, how did you get to this point, Keaton? What were the biggest influences to turn you into this master salesperson?
Oof, I don't know if I really think I'm not that good at sales. Uh,
Yeah, I don't think you're salesy at all. I think you're more of a, expert. You're more of a teacher in my
yeah,
in my
yeah, I
mind.
enjoy that for
But
sure.
but
I
what do you
did,
do typically to level up?
yeah, I did it. I did 2 years of door-to-door sales, so that's brutal, and it'll like teach you a lot.
Did you have one of those scooters and Segway things, or
No,
was
never
it
did
the
a scooter.
stroller?
So that'll teach you a ton. And then I went to college and quickly learned that it wasn't for me. And then I the only regret I have is that I didn't more aggressively invest in more coaching faster. So every time I leveled up, it was because I bought a good program with somebody who was reputable and could help me. And even if some of their advice wasn't so good, which happened many, many times, it eventually led me to the spot where I met the person that helped me make that quantum leap because I had so much kind of discarded info or more context in some cases that I just hadn't quite clicked on it. But yeah, I was actually talking to my best friend last night, and I'm in a coaching program right now, learning some of the stuff that I was able to share with you guys today. And I just part of it, I was like, some of this isn't making sense. And so one of the other top students in that program has a program and he's crushing it. And so I was like, why don't I just join his program? And now I'm in both, you know? And so it's being willing to invest in yourself over and over again and bet on you becoming the person who can crush it is the best advice I have.
Yeah, and I've mentioned this in other workshops, master classes, podcasts as well. The person you are until you get to about, the first $1,000, that's a different person versus the first 10,000.
Yeah.
Then the 25 to 30K mark, you have a team now. The way you think about things is different, like your personality, your style. And
Yeah.
then the next jump in my mind is like the 100K mark. And that person who is doing 100K a month, it's a whole different person. They carry themselves a certain way. And then when you get to the point of like 250 or 300 a month, you're not thinking about the trenches. You're thinking about risk management. You're thinking
Mm.
about budgeting. You're thinking about market share strategies. You're thinking about partnerships. You're thinking
Yeah.
about affiliate marketing. And when you get to a million or more, it's like, okay, now I've got to be proper. I got to be legalistic. I got to be politically right because now I have a brand. Like, so every single one of these steps has a different version of you attached to it. For you to climb into those steps and step into those, move into those, I guess, milestones, you have to evolve. So, Keaton's point of investing into coaching, ultimately it helps you move into those milestones. And that's what
Yeah.
I've personally done. I know a lot of us here at High Level have done that. People that run their own departments and founders and everybody in leadership, like we've all invested into ourselves one way or shape or form. Anything you want to add to that, Keaton?
Yeah, just surrounding yourself with people who are at the level you want to be at is the fastest way forward because the culture lifts you.
Yep. Anne's asking question, is the onboarding one-on-one for the 200 a week MRR?
It is. Yep. So the people sit down directly with me and I by the end of the call they have clarity on their offer and the first 1 to 3 next steps. And then I say, "Hey, once you finish the assignments I've given you, put them in the group and then we'll talk back and forth on them."
Yeah. And obviously, one-on-one is not as scalable as a group onboarding, but
Mhm.
especially in the beginning, that one-on-one touch is what actually creates stickiness for the customers, right? So, like, I mean, I would do
Yep.
one-on-one as long as I possibly can, even if it's with a team member. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Um, we're gonna add something.
No, that's great.
Okay, cool. Alejandro says, when creating your automations, how much do you consider your customer's journey? Specifically creating imaginary avatars. I get stuck on this for far too long, I think.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking about when it comes to automations, I'm thinking about what I need, not what my customer needs. Like technically it is what they need, but it's what I need for them to convert or for them to be maintained. And so it's that when you think about the avatars, it's not necessarily the automation, it's the copy that is going to be different, the words and all of the emails and texts. And so I find it helpful to map out, okay, I definitely need a text that says this. I need an email that says this. I need a pipeline update that does this and just map that out and then go back through and replace all of the text with something that makes sense. So build the
Yeah.
skeleton and then put the meat on the bones.
Yeah, and in the software world, we call it day zero. Day zero is basically when a prospect paid you $1 to become a customer or a client. So until day zero, all your automations is around prospecting, marketing, and sales, where after day zero, it's around retention. So you may have two different lanes of automations, and you may have two different avatar profiles for the same person. One is to get them to actually buy, the other one is for them to kind of stay. So you sometimes people mix and match that. Do you have separate automations, Keaton, for retention and adoption and account management versus onboarding?
For sure. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Got it. Quick question. If I was in high level and have not been for a few months as I found it too hard to use, which we get it, but no feel with Keaton's training I could use it, do I just get a brand new account? Um, So I don't think you need to jump into a new trial. You can just reactivate your old account and get affiliated with Keaton. So I don't think you'll lose your old account in any way. You can just go into our success room. So go to speakwith.us/success and let one of the live agents on a Zoom call know, hey, I want to reactivate my account under Keaton. And they typically should be able to do that from what I know, especially if it's an unaffiliated account. But if you already had another affiliate that you signed up under and you're not using it and you want to cancel, then I maybe you may have to sign up for a new. Do you know about that, Keaton? I don't know how that
Uh,
works personally.
what Paulson said, or use a different email for just to be sure this time
Perfect.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. JP Goldman says, which platform would be the best to start the workshop delivery?
Zoom is what I use and a Google Doc. Like literally just wrote out everything I knew about YouTube on a doc, and then we just hit screen share and sent the link to everybody. And HighLevel managed those emails and delivering the replay, which is in the
Yep.
snapshot.
Stephanie says, is it easy to move workflow from one high level to a high level account to another? Yeah, all you need is a
Sure.
snapshot link and you can download, share, distribute. Um, Keen, I have a favor to ask you.
Yes.
I just remembered just now. Can you go over Kajabi stuff real quick, like the importing thing? Because
Sure.
I think we totally forgot about that when it comes to coaching, consulting,
Yeah.
teaching.
Yeah. We
And
mentioned it
and
briefly yesterday.
Yeah, and the reason why this is important is because we're gonna have migration tools across the board, even if you're coming from other platforms, even outside of Kajabi. But can you share how this works? Because I think it's kind of like crazy.
Yeah. So I just come here, and if I wanted to start from scratch creating a course, I could. This is memberships, courses, and then we're here. But if, of course, I want to import from Kajabi, I could just hit import from Kajabi.
Meaning, like, if you already have an existing course inside of Kajabi with hundreds and hours and hours and hours of stuff, you mean to tell me, Heaton, with one click and a password, I can just move the whole thing over?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes. So super
The
nice.
minivan
And
guys.
ClickFunnels, if you've got template or funnels on ClickFunnels, it does the same thing in terms of the landing pages and the funnels there. Paste the link and ta-da. That was one of the things that sold me on switching to HighLevel in the first place. So this is super nice on Kajabi. And as Paulson said, they're working on, someone asked about Kartra yesterday, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
Kartra, Thinkific, Teachable. You
yeah.
name it, every platform will have an import type of a tool if it's relevant enough. We'll go one at a time, but you know, pretty soon you'll be able to migrate from anywhere.
Yeah. And the amazing thing about the HighLevel community is if you don't, if let's say the importer isn't built, then you just need to get it done. There's so many people that understand it and are willing to help you out that you don't have to spend the 7 hours downloading and uploading your own course.
Yeah, or videos for that matter.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Aliyah says, what is the biggest thing you had to shift about your business mindset in order to be this level of a coach slash sales slash tech master, Keaton?
The tech master thing is so funny because I feel, I don't know, I feel like people who know how to code are tech masters, and I'm just like high level is my, you know how Tony Stark is can like do this and just like move his stuff around, right? Like HighLevel is that for me, but I don't actually have to know how to code, which is amazing. Um, about my business mindset, I would just say that like anything is possible. Like actually believing I could do it. I had a lot of, and most beginner entrepreneurs do, like a lot of negative, like, oh, sales is bad or marketing is bad or like, why should I be successful type beliefs. And I struggled to make sales because of it. And then I eventually was just like, I'm not going to succeed with this belief. So what belief do I need to have? I would write that down. I'd repeat it to myself and try to embody it. And that was one of the biggest transformations I went through at the beginning. And then it's just like years of spending time in the tech to figure that out. because it feels overwhelming at the beginning. But once you have put in the time, you you can build something immediately and be happy with it.
I love it. A lot of the questions that I'm seeing is around the offers itself. So those of you that don't have a high level account, you can jump into Keaton Walker's offer, which is gohighlevel.com/slash Keaton Walker offer. You can
Mhm.
choose, I believe, either the 97 or the 297. If you have an existing plan already, you want to upgrade and you get all the collaterals. And if you're already on the highest plan, what we will do is this. We are going to release a Google Drive link here today, and it'll have the snapshots in it that Keaton has built out. And give me a couple of hours. I'm going to get with Keaton, and we're going to make sure all the items in the drive is all set up properly so the right links are shared, and we'll go through and Q&A test it, make sure everything is downloadable and all of that. Within the next couple of hours, I'll have the snapshot link in the Google Drive, and we'll release the Google Drive link in a little bit as well. And Keaton, can you share the information about your YouTube channel? I got people asking what your YouTube channel
I just popped
name is.
the link in the chat.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see. Um, Ron's asking a great question. What kind of budget did you have in order to start your business? How much do I need to get started when it comes to building a course, I guess, or even an agency for that matter?
Yeah,
Thought.
yeah. So sorry, someone was asking about a specific video. I'm just grabbing it here. I like the beautiful thing about what High Level's done and agency and coaching stuff is that you need a laptop and an internet connection. But most people end up failing because they don't know which op like they don't know what to do next. And so my biggest piece of advice is take all the budget that you thought you would spend on an office or a logo or a website and all this fancy stuff you think you need, and instead spend it on a really good coach who can tell you what to do instead of focusing on the vanity stuff that doesn't matter so much at the beginning. So for me, it was, I think my first coach was like 1,300, and I was able to pay him for a couple months of coaching, and those calls just completely transformed my life. And then I paid for a course that was 1,500, and those two things are really what got me to about 10K a month. That was that and 2 years of door-to-door sales experience um, did it for me.
I love that. So, Keaton, I see a few more questions coming in. We can go through and answer a ton of those. A lot of like logistics stuffs like links and all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what I want to do here is, last but not least, I just want to say thank you to you from the High Level family, our leadership. This workshop has been amazing, fantastic. I mean, it's so thorough when it comes to the technology and the walkthroughs that you did on top of the strategies. Where can people find you? Where can people find the content for you in general as an expert out there?
Yeah, I appreciate it. So Facebook, go ahead and just shoot me a friend request from this Facebook that I'm commenting on. That's where I put a lot of my best insight and things. And the high level community tends to hang out on Facebook since this group is so awesome. So if you want to shoot me a friend request there, I'll accept. And then YouTube is where I put out all of my best video trainings, and I just put the link in there. And there's a lot. Like every question on here that we didn't get the chance to get to, I've probably made a video on it. So just scroll through the past few months, and we got some really cool plans for the channel this year. We're gonna be recapping high level features. I hired somebody else to help me out with the more technical videos because I was just there's so much coming out that I couldn't cover it all. And so that's going to be great. And I'm going to cover more high, level, not high level the software, but high level the concept, business principles, and getting started with your agency, your coaching business, or just
Yeah.
getting started online.
Yeah. So, Keaton, we spent 3 days talking about launching a course, building a membership area, building a community around it, and obviously sprinkling it with culture. As we kind of close up the 3 day workshop, what are your final thoughts? What are your final recommendations? What are the final takeaways that you want to share before we kind of call it a day?
Yeah, I would say don't be so committed to looking around at what everybody else is doing that you don't check in with what makes sense for you. There's a lot of people with $100,000 plus businesses that take home 10K, and I'd rather have you have a $15,000 business and take home 10K than a $100,000 business and take home 10K. So bigger isn't always better, and limiting your spots is like that's the key to coaching. You have something that's unlimited, people can buy it anytime. They'll push you down the road. They'll push that decision down the road as long as they possibly can. You have intakes, you limit the spots, you do a little bit of one-on-one onboarding. You're going to be a better coach for it, and you're going to have more like a much faster sales process. So
I love that. And last but not least, your recommendation on people coming to our masterminds or our conference because it's right around the corner. I got to do an event around it. So what you've been to like at least two of them that I can
yeah,
think
yeah,
of, and we,
I've
we
been to
spend time
3.
in person. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah. What are your thoughts? What should they expect on one of those? I know some people
Yeah.
said they bought tickets already and stuff.
Yeah, so the masterminds are small, which is awesome. High Level's taking notes from this workshop, I guess, and limiting their spots. They do that same for the big event, to be fair. So they cap those spots, right? And that means that I think it's only like 100 people that can go to the masterminds, right?
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
means I'm sitting down with Paulson for dinner, and we're talking about the future of High Level. And uh, Sean's there. He's chatting to everybody, learning about their business. I'm not sure if he's going to be there at every one, but you're really there
Pretty
with the
much. Yeah.
C-level. Yeah, you're there with the C-level leadership of High Level, drinking from like a very, very valuable cup. And the thing I love the most about High Level is that they're they want you to use it more, because if you use it more, they make more money. And so they're really, and it's not just like, oh, like if they'll stay on with their subscription. It's like, no, if they add more sub accounts, High Level makes more money from texts and emails. And so, and I learned that from the mastermind. And so they're there to get you to win, because if you win, they win. And so they don't hold back, which is amazing. And just the caliber of person that you'll meet there. I never dreamed some of the people that were going to be there would be there. And then the event in October, like some of my best friends in the High Level community, I met there. And just the it's like electric. The feeling there, it's super fun.
Is more of a
The
big party. Is more
Yeah,
the
exactly.
the conference is more of a big party where the mastermind is more like, okay, let's go shoulder to shoulder and kind of build out your business. It's a bit
Yeah.
more serious, but we'll have fun too.
Mhm.
But it's not a party scene. It's more like, okay, let's
Yeah.
build this thing because something's off, you know?
Yep. And on the event, like just trust me, like the level of attention to detail and just everything that they've done at the October event is just insane. And they will sell out of the tickets with food. So get the food tickets while they're still there, because it's delicious, and it's really nice not to have to leave the hotel every time for the meal.
Well, either way, man, looking forward to seeing you at all of our events as usual. Thanks for
Yeah.
jumping in on a workshop. Hopefully, this was fantastic to you all. If you, just as a thank you note to Keaton and his team and everyone behind the scenes, it took us almost like 3 weeks to ramp this up, build up the content, deliver it to you all. Just as a thank you note, please put comments in the chat. I want Keaton to get his flowers. He went through so many hours, so many nights with while he's watching his little one, just building this all out for you all. And we appreciate it. Caden, thanks for jumping in, man.
Yeah, man. So good to be here. Guys, hop in on that snapshot. It really is super valuable. And if you want more help, I've covered my coaching business at length in here, so you know what to join in the prices. So just reach out and we'll get you in.
All right, bye for now. That's a wrap for day three. If you're watching on replays, still comment, let us know where you're from, and interact with everyone else. And give me a couple of hours. We'll go ahead and release a direct link for the snapshots for those of you that already have an existing account inside HighLevel. And if you don't have one, jump into the offer link. It will expire, just so you know. This offer link will expire where you won't be able to jump into it after this where, with the 30-day trial and all of that. So either way, thank you, Keaton. I'll see you in person probably at one of the events. Take
Okay,
care.
sounds good. Take care, Paulson.
Mini,
Thanks.
minivans for the win.
That's right.
All
See
right.
you soon.
Bye, guys.